Okay, so for your practice picture-in-picture, you need the background image, and you also need a picture of Nathan. Um, as long as it's an appropriate picture of Nathan, I'm fine. So it shouldn't be one of him smiling, of him laughing, and it should also be an entire image. To start off, all we need to do is we're going to quick select and cut him out. I'm using quick select. You can use whatever method you're comfortable with. But I am going to use the quick select because I can do it rather quickly. I just need to make sure this is way too small to be doing this. The only thing I need to make sure I get is his shoes here. Okay. I can get the rest of it later. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it. And I want to make sure it's size appropriate. So you need to remember he is 4, he is little, he comes up to about my waist. Make sure you're holding down shift when you're making him smaller. You don't want any Oompa Loompas, you don't want it to be disfigured. And I can really tell if you're holding down shift or not, because you'll start to get images like this, or you'll start to get images like this, and they just won't look appropriate. So hold down shift. I want to make sure he's nice and small there. I'm actually going to zoom in just to make sure I don't need to take anything else off. I probably could do a couple pixels in here. Can make this really small. Let's see. And right in there. Okay. Let me zoom out. Okay. That looks a lot better. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to name him Nate. And then I'm going to change his color. So the reason why I need to change his color is because I want him to blend in with my background. So I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, and any of this will really play with color. I just know I want to pull his saturation down. So I'm going to pull it down so he blends right in. I'm going to click OK. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take his layer and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to drag it to this little post-it note and copy. And this is going to be called Shadow. The next thing I need to do is I need to select Shadow. And the way I can select Shadow is to hold down Command and click on this box right here. You have to click on the box. You can't click over here. Once I get onto that box, you'll notice that the little square pops up where my hand is. And I'm going to click on it, and then I'll get my ants. And basically what that means is the only thing that I can move or do anything with is that layer and your shadow. So I'm going to take a paintbrush, and you should all know what a paintbrush is. I'm going to make sure I'm on black, and I'm basically coloring him black. It's going to be his shadow. I'm going to hit Command D to get rid of my ants. And then I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, and flip vertically. So I'm just moving him upside down. And I'm basically going to move this to the shadow right here, but I want to move it over here so you guys can see it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Distort. And if you notice, the gentleman's shadow is very tilted. So I'm going to do the same thing for Nathan. And the way I can do that is by doing Distort. I need to go a little bit more. Not much, but just a little bit. Alright. And there we go. Now, I need to do 2 more things. I'm going to take this shadow, and I'm actually going to move it underneath Nathan. So I'm going to take Nate and move it on top, so it looks like he's on top of a shadow. So that makes sense. And I'm going to go to Shadow, and I'm just going to lower my opacity. So now it looks like it's blended in. See? And there's your shadow. The next part that you have to do is you need to add something that blends in with my background. I don't care what it is, but you're going to do one more add-on on this before you save it. I've had kids do airplanes crashing, UFOs, zombies, anything that had to do with the apocalypse. But you need to save it after you do one more add-on. You're going to save it as a JPEG, put it in your Dropbox as practice picture-in-picture, and then you are to complete your own picture-in-picture. The requirements for your own picture-in-picture are for you to have 2 images of yourself, and you need to have 1 add-on. And also you need to have, obviously, a background. It needs to be appropriate. You need to think about what you're doing. As always, it is important to make sure you're on the same eye level, so you'll notice that these are all on eye level. If you're using something for sports, you don't want to make sure you have an aerial view and you're putting yourself at eye level. It just won't look right. So everybody can go ahead and start working on that. Make sure you have your 1 add-on. You're going to save it as your practice picture-in-picture. And then when you're finished and you're finished your personal picture-in-picture, you can save it as a picture-in-picture and put it in your Dropbox. That will be all for today. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a good evening.